Did you know at this very moment, someone is on Amazon and Etsy actively looking for a quality coloring and activity book to add to their shopping cart? The only question is, will it be yours? Since you're listening to this podcast, hence the name of the show, it's pretty safe to assume that you have a keen interest in creating and selling your first or next coloring book. And it's for that reason I want to assure you you're in the right place. And I'd like to help you make it a reality by inviting you to check out the Coloring Book Creator Mentor Program, the first of its kind complete A to Z course that features live weekly coaching, resources, templates, and an extremely supportive online community, all designed to assure that you create a standout in-demand coloring book that you'll actually enjoy creating, promoting, and selling. Imagine the feeling of knowing somewhere in the world someone is adding your beautiful new book to their shopping cart, investing in a piece of your creativity. Enrollment is open and you can get started by going to coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. That's coloringbookcreatorcourse.com. You're listening to the Coloring Book Creator Podcast, Episode 2. The interview you're about to listen to is from a 5-part series I produced called Coloring Book Creator Live, featuring 5 students from my Publish and Promote Your First Coloring Book in 30 Days Challenge program. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation with coloring book author Contona B, creator of the coloring and activities book, Be a Blessing, Not a Bully. Enjoy. I'm interviewing Contona B, author of the wonderful coloring and activity book called Be a Blessing, Not a Bully. She just gave me a little piece of exciting news a few minutes ago, which I'll have her share with you a little bit later. So without further ado, Contona, how are you?
I am great. Thank you, Rodney. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us a little about yourself. Who are you and what inspired you to create a coloring book?
I am a coloring book author officially as of August the 10th, 2022. And I want to thank you, Rodney, for posting on Facebook. I've seen this post come across my news feed asking if you wanted to create a coloring book in 30 days. And I was like, sure, why not? I had already worked on a couple of books and I didn't know how to publish them. So I said, well, let me just put those to the side and let me embark on this coloring book journey. Well, I had initially started working on a book about anti-bullying. And then I thought, well, why not marry the two? So I created the coloring book on anti-bullying. And so that's how Be a Blessing, Not a Bully came about. And that's how it was born.
Wonderful. Let me ask you this question. Why bullying? Why did you choose that as your subject?
Initially, I chose it because I know that there is a lot of bullying going on in the schools and it's not being addressed. And as a result of doing research, I learned something about myself. And that is that I was a silent bully, which is not really talked about, ironically. And a silent bully is a person that kind of manipulates a situation when they don't get what they want. And so like when you have a conflict, the goal is to get a resolution. And in my case, when I shut down, there was no resolution. So I have started going to therapy to learn how to deal with the situations and not shut down so that a person can get a resolution. So it has helped me. It has opened my eyes and has matured me. And I am just so grateful for this journey already.
You know, it's fascinating that, and I think that's what I personally love about, which I didn't foresee coming, is what Contona just mentioned. I created a program called Publish and Promote Your Coloring Book in 30 Days. And Contona was one of several people that signed up for the program. And one of the things that I said very early on in the beginning of this was to me, our best work comes out of our own personal experience. At least that's where my coloring book came from. And because to me, when it's personal like that,
Yes.
you put more into it, you put more care into it because you've lived it and you've gone through it. So I know that the book, which actually let me show you all, this is it here. It's a beautiful book. It's called Be a Blessing, Not a Bully. And I wanted to, and this is the back of it here. And it is a coloring slash activity book. And it has all kinds of little exercises inside of it. It's got doodles, it's got little notes, things that, that readers or colorists can pull out. And what I wanted to ask you is while the book, and you do say at the bottom that it's for children ages 5 to 13, so I know the intention behind this for a child. But I honestly feel, and based on your story you just shared for your own experience, I feel like adults can get a lot out of it too. Have you found that to be your experience?
Yes. And as a result of me sharing the coloring book, people started sharing with me various stories where they have either encountered bullying or have been a bystander of bullying. So they've witnessed it. There was one young man that shared with me how there was a young lady in a wheelchair and someone walked past her and smacked all of her books onto the floor.
Oh no.
Well, he went over and he introduced himself and picked up her books and gave them back to her. So it has opened up the conversations about bullying and is bringing it to the forefront of our minds so that we can start talking more about it and be able to have a solution.
Mhm. It was so fascinating when you told me about the title of your book. I was so excited. So this program that Contona just went through started in early July. And I don't know if that was weeks after the whole Uvalde situation that happened in Texas. And I had a thought. I don't steer anyone to a particular subject or topic, but I did have the thought is if someone would do a book around, well, I thought possibly around gun violence and go into schools and talk about it. But and I've never said this to you, Cantona, what made me think even deeper when you shared what you wanted to make your book about was long before the gun gets picked up, there's issues going on with that person long before they go to that extreme. And so to be able to address and try to work through some of that anger and those issues and be able to express to an adult how they're feeling, maybe those things can be neutralized and caught long before it gets to that level. And I've never shared that with you, but that's what I thought when I saw your book is that you're actually hopefully, prayerfully catching it before it gets to that stage. Has that been your experience in talking to people about the book as well?
Yes, and that is my goal is to be able to talk to the children and have a fun atmosphere so that they can open up and not feel intimidated. And so we'll learn more about the situations that they've encountered, the emotions that they have, just things like that so that it doesn't escalate into gun violence throughout
Mm-hmm.
the schools. What I've learned is that some of the people that have done the mass shootings were bullied as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be able to prevent that so that our children can feel safe when they go to school and that our
Mm-hmm.
parents won't have to worry about whether or not their children are going to come back home dead
Yes.
or alive. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, that's to me is what makes this book and what you've done in you such a blessing to so many people. And I'm going to jump the gun a little bit because I'm so excited. So you recently did a live event and you brought out a nice, healthy stack of books and share with the audience the result of what happened with that.
That was an amazing experience. It was my first experience selling my books. So I attended the Marigold Festival here in Huber Heights. I set up a table and displayed my books. I also had some bookmarks as my opener to get the people to bring them into me, and it
Mm-hmm.
worked. So as I would hand the bookmark to the person, mainly focusing on the children, but if I didn't see a child, I'd ask an adult, would you like a bookmark? And so the bookmark is on anti-bullying. It actually has the picture of the book, and then I provided the phone number for the National Suicide Prevention or mental health. So as a result of passing out the bookmarks and drawing the people in, I shared with them the book. I gave them the title of the book, Be a Blessing, Not a Bully.
Hmm.
And they were just taken by the title. And so they wanted to know more. They became more curious. And so I would let them look at the book and they were fascinated. And I actually sold 30 books. So, woohoo!
Wonderful.
Yes,
Mm.
that was amazing. And I also got a couple of leads on a couple of agencies that would like to purchase more books and perhaps have me come and speak at their facility.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's an idea whose time had come. And
Yes.
that's why it all happened. So I'm so happy for you. I just can't, you don't even know how happy I am for you. Because, when you're doing this, you have a passion and you have an idea, but you work from your heart. And as you all heard me say many times throughout the time we worked together, was the book is the transaction that happens between you and the reader. But what you're doing is so much bigger than a book.
Exactly. That's so fulfilling is to know that there's a purpose behind it.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Although it does say for children ages 5 to 13, but as we've just shared, is that anyone of any age can get value out of this. And even if you don't have children, if you have grandchildren, you've got nieces or nephews, even friends with children, because sometimes too, and you may find this to be true in your experience, it's hard for a child to say to an adult what's happening to them or to a teacher what's happening to them. Do you have any suggestions or ways that you maybe possibly work with schools or just trying to get the conversation going so kids can open up about it?
Actually, one of the young ladies that I encountered at the festival is a teacher, but she's a therapist. And she looked at the book and she said, "This is awesome." And she mentioned that what she would do is she will put down the coloring book and give the child coloring pencils or crayons and let them color and talk to them while they're coloring. And she'll color with
Mhm.
them. So it opens up the avenue for them to talk in a less intimidating atmosphere.
That's a good exercise and a practice too. I was going to ask you, I know this kind of said was the same connection, but back to using the book as a tool to get the child to open up. Are there any things that you would recommend to people listening, like red flags or warning signs or issues happening to, to maybe look out for your any child in your experience that may be experiencing bullying? Anything to be looking out for?
Yes, a few of the signs to look out for could be withdrawing from their friends and family when they're normally outgoing and
Mhm.
engaging. That's one of them. If they don't want to go to school, or if they do want to go to school and they don't want to associate with a certain person, that is
Mhm.
another red flag because it's telling me that the child has encountered some type of issue with that child and is no longer secure around that child.
Have you found that there's been a different response to it from, say, younger children to older children? We've been talking about a series of books addressing more specific niche areas like girls or boys and even children of color, and what have you. Is there anything in your experience so far that has inspired what you'll do next with the book?
Yes, I've talked to two children. They're the same age, one boy and one girl. They go to the same school. The boy says that there's no bullying, and the girl says that there is bullying,
Okay.
which was interesting. So it makes me want to work on a coloring book for the girls first to address the issues that they're dealing with, and then I'll create one for the boys.
And possibly too, maybe even, dare I say, adults. I know it's rarely spoken about, but I know it does happen with adults as well, maybe in workplace environments and things like that. So, you never know where it's going to go, but I feel for you, there's just a wide range of opportunity to really bring attention to such an enormous issue that is so important. And what you're doing is really giving people a safe, creative place to talk, and express it. So your book really is a blessing. It truly is. The title is so appropriate. So I love it. What has been the most significant learning experience that you had in this process of actually doing this?
The most significant one is learning more about myself and being a silent bully so that I can address that with people as well. Because we normally hear of bullying either verbally, physically, or cyberbullying. But
Mm, mm.
I haven't heard of silent bullying ever.
I haven't either. That's a new one to me. Talk about that. Just I know you did mention that was what you said you personally were experiencing for yourself, but I've never heard that term silent bullying before. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Right. So silent bullying is if there's a conflict, normally people will debate or argue. In my case, I don't debate or argue. I shut down and I may leave the area. So the person no longer has the opportunity to get a resolution or get an answer.
Oh,
And as a result of that, then their mind starts wondering, well, what could I have done to make this situation better? What did I do? They start having questions, but they don't have an answer because I shut down.
wow.
Right.
I never thought of it as positioned as that's a form of bullying to actually shut down and not really talk to the person anymore.
Right. It's a form of manipulation, which is also a form of bullying. And it's a learned behavior. So it's not like I was born with it,
Right.
which is a blessing because that tells me that it can be changed. So with therapy, I have learned how to reprogram my mind to address issues, to be assertive in the conversation, to get my point across without shutting down.
Without shutting down. And I would just say, so I didn't know this was where this was going to go. So I'm having like a little bit of what I would call a come to Jesus moment with myself right now because I'm guilty of that, very much guilty of that. And I never ever thought of that as a form of manipulation or bullying. I'm not going into these stories here, but I'll just say I didn't want to have the confrontation. So it was easier just to just shut down. And I never looked at it that way. Talk about Michelle says in the chat here, light bulb moment. You just gave me a huge light bulb moment, massive light bulb moment. I never ever thought of it that way. Wow.
Yes, yes. It was a light bulb moment for me as well. And it felt so good to know that there is a system out there to help me to process and to be able to use my voice in a manner
Hmm.
to get a resolution. The key is to use my voice instead of shutting down.
Instead of shutting down. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the two extremes where either you shut down or cuss them out. I get it. I get it. Well, and that's what my initial thing was, is that, if someone has upset you, then you go into using your voice and with anger. And for some people, it's like, I need to get louder and escalate to basically shut you down.
Right.
And so that was my impression, that to me, when I hear the word bullying, I think of a form of violence.
Correct.
But I never thought that shutting down and not speaking is also a form of violence, because the person is then set back wondering. And I think to a degree that the person who's doing the shutting down.
It was all that. And the unfortunate thing is that you leave that space for all kinds of negative thoughts to come
Mhm.
through their mind because it is unknown. They have no idea of what to expect, what direction to go into, because they have no idea what you're thinking because you've shut down.
Because you shut down.
Yes,
That is absolutely, you blown so many minds here.
exactly.
you know,
So
with,
I'm elated because now I feel like I can help other people so that we can cease the bullying in all facets.
in all facets of it. That's amazing. That's amazing. I did not expect this where this went today, and I am beyond it. I can see by the comments here in the group that people are really, really, you're a blessing. And I'm glad that you recognized for yourself what was going on,
Yes,
and that you took the steps to help get yourself healed of that. And now you get to pass that on now in a fun, creative way. Because what I love about coloring, and why I'm so grateful that this got put on my heart to do this, is that a lot of books I don't always read. I mean, I go out and buy books all the time that I don't hardly read. But coloring forces you to set down and set still and engage another part of your brain that's not just taking in information. And
correct.
so by going through your book and going through the different exercises and the prompts and the different things you're doing, you're giving people an opportunity to really kind of go, oh yeah, I didn't realize that when I did that. And I know for me, I'm not outing anybody right now, but I know exactly where that came from. You really are providing a tool and a resource to change lives. And so I honor you for that. In all seriousness, I truly do, for you putting what was on your heart to do and providing all of us with another way to look at things, that we all can become better people and make the world a better place. And so I
Thank
honor
you.
you for that.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So let's see, I want a couple of last questions for you. Where can people get a copy?
You can go to Amazon.
Okay.
You can do a search on "Be a Blessing, Not a Bully," and it should bring it up. Book is $9.99.
Any final words or thoughts for anyone dreaming of creating a coloring book of their own?
I would advise them to seek out Rodney Washington because he is such an amazing, gentle spirit who has a lot of patience with us all and a great sense of humor. And using all of those qualities, we were able to give feedback and feed off of each other and create something beautiful in 30 days.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. I'm so blessed to have all of you too. This has been an amazing journey. Thank you so much, Contona, for, first of all, for just being you, doing something that was put on your heart, doing it beautifully, and then sharing what I feel like has been an eye-opening revelation for so many of us. Do pick up this book. It's for anyone, children, like I said, ages 5 to 13, and the program that Contona just mentioned is a program I created back in July called Publish and Promote Your Coloring Book in 30 Days. I am reopening the doors for that in a couple of weeks. I'll be talking about that more. If you're interested in learning more about that, I'm going to put a link also in the comments to join notification list. There's so much going on right now in the world. And I know art and creativity was always something that was a part of my life since I was a kid. There just has to be an outlet for all of us, no matter how old we are. And I feel like coloring and creativity is one of the easiest ways. You just need a book and a set of pencils or crayons or whatever. And anybody can do it. Anyone can give themselves this gift. It's under $20 for the pencils and the book in most cases, at least 25. And give yourself that space and that respite. With the variety of topics that are out there, you can find something that'll suit where you are right now. And again, this is such an important topic. It's a beautiful book. I'm just grateful that I got a chance to be a part of the journey with you on it. Any last words for any of us today?
Be a blessing, not a bully.
There you go. Again, thank you all so much. Pick up a couple of copies of the book and give one to a friend. Think about anyone in your life that you think could benefit from this, yourself included, and grab it because it is a very powerful topic that must be talked about. So again, God bless you, Contona. Thank you so much. And God bless all of you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Thanks so much for listening. Links to the author's book and other resources are available in the show notes.